we've completed our seamless texture skin. I'm very happy with the amount of texture that we were able to obtain on this panel. It's not uncommon when you're using a seamless texture skin or a stamp. You saw how the material kind of builds up. It suctions to the bottom of the stamp. If you're doing a much larger area, you have to get on it a little bit sooner than we did. And sometimes you'll get that orange peel effect. If you get that orange peel effect where it's real fuzzy, sometimes I'll come in here and just lightly smooth it off. And what I found is it fixes the aggressive texture. It adds an additional interesting texture to it. And assuming you're going to come back and put a patina stain here, it's a really nice surface because those are flat spots of the texture. But I would advise you, don't just do it in areas. You know, once you've committed, go ahead and just lightly hit the peaks of all the surfaces so it looks uniform throughout. Okay, it's time to finish up our wood plank stamp, and then we're going to call it a wrap on this panel. It's the final details that'll help take your Pasto stamp overlay over the top with detailing the edges, going back and cleaning up everything you possibly can. We went through with the chisels, and really it cleans up the wood texture and the joints, as you can see. So now, as an option, this is not mandatory, but as an option you can use the tinted liquid release. A general ratio is roughly 1 cup of powdered release to 5 gallons of liquid release. So you always want to make sure that you continue to shake this. If it sets for as little as 1 minute, the powder will go out of a suspension and go to the bottom, and then the minute you squeeze the trigger, you're going to get a big heavy tint load. So you'll notice I continue to spray or shake as I'm spraying. Now this is just a light charcoal chroma powdered release, and it's just going to add some interesting accent to what's already been put down. Ultimately, what would really look nice on this is to come back and put a couple stain wash colors. So over here I can see real closely that we're getting a nice little accent antiquing. Okay, we're on our Pasto stampable overlay. If you remember, what we did is we did seamless texture skins on the infield, and then on the borders, which is covered right now with paper, we did the wood plank stamp. So here we're going to use the Pellucid Dye, and basically we want to make sure it's pumped up. You have the proper type of acetone sprayer. We have our bucket here, and as we mentioned earlier, I'm going to start the nozzle in here in the bucket, squeeze the trigger, and I'm not going to let off of the trigger until the tip of the wand goes back into the bucket. You can see I'm probably 18 inches from the surface here, keeping it in a circular fashion. And it really, when you add color, it really brings the texture to life. It's just absolutely gorgeous texture now. And now it starts to take on a sense of realism with the color. Now, speaking of color, there's many different mediums that you could use on this type of an application. Probably one of my favorites is the traditional acid stain, like a patina etch. You could use Aqua Color. You could use the Pellucid Dye like we're using. But it's just a matter of the effects that you're trying to achieve here. Now, there's no reason I couldn't come right back in with the secondary color and just mist areas. And I'm purposely going darker and lighter here just to get it to look like stone. Natural stone has many different variations of hue, and so one way to do that is to apply it heavier and lighter in areas, like you see me doing right here. Real heavy in there, heavy here. And then when this is sealed, it'll really look like a nice piece of rusted rock. Now getting towards the end, I'm going to put that tip right back in, sprayer into the bucket. Okay? That way you don't get unwanted drips. Now this is a pretty unique sprayer, and they claim drip free, and so far that's the case. But all right, that's our first application of the Pellucid dye. Now what we're going to do is remove the building paper and get on to the wood stamp borders. You can see how beautiful the Pellucid dye is in the field. It really has that organic kind of a rusted look. It's a really nice look on that seamless texture skin. Now we're going to change mediums, and we're going to just hand apply Aqua Color, okay, in a water solution. So a couple of observations. You can see we have our stuff on a non-absorbent tray. You want to really try to avoid dripping. So rather than mask this all off, we figured we'd just come in here and brush apply it like you see us doing right here. So it should be a real nice contrast. Once we've gone around this whole panel, what we'll do is we'll get a much darker Aqua Color and just accent and highlight the tops of the texture so it really looks like a wood grain texture. Absolutely a perfect color, huh? All right, we've went around in a lighter color. You can see how nicely this is shaping up. Now here is one, you know, if we're trying to mimic wood, why not make it look like wood? And so this is just a very quick, easy way to accent in just a darker Aqua Color. There's a variety of ways that you can achieve this. So, you know, you need to experiment on your own projects. Leanne and I have done a lot of accenting. We found that for speed, it's real quick. If you notice that she's over here, what Leanne is doing is actually taking the rags and wringing them out. So I don't have to worry about it. And when you're doing this technique, you don't want to drip, okay? And so you do need to wring it out. In essence, all we're trying to do is hit most of the high spots, the high part of the wood grain, and all of a sudden, just that little bit of accenting, look how nice it's looking. And that's the goal here, is try to mimic actual wood. So it's just that quick. And we'll go around this. The next step is to apply solvent-based acrylic, A01. You can see just by adding that little bit of texture, look how nice this looks compared to just the solid color. You could spend a tremendous amount of time if you chose to. You could come in and with little brushes and accent all the knot holes, the nail holes. All right, we're getting ready to apply our Purdue A01, which is a crystal clear solvent-based acrylic. This sealer really works nice, and as you're about to see, it truly, truly enhances the color. So we're going to be applying our A01 solvent-based acrylic. It's really best to apply it with a pump sprayer, especially because we have such heavy texture on our pasto overlay. But you can see how nice our colors turned out simply by accenting. Now we're going to bring this panel over the top with a spray application of the A01. Now you can dip and roll, but you just need to be a little bit careful with solvent-based acrylics if it's warm outside, because you could get roller lines. So for that reason, we do like to spray it. So I'm going to make sure my sprayer is working properly in my bucket, and that looks great. So now I'm going to come to the opposite side. So I'm going to just make sure I keep a rag around the tip. Come right over here, and we are ready to start with our Purdue A01 clear acrylic sealer application. So you can really see how much it enhances the colors. Truly brings them to life. sprayer is spraying great. I'm not puddling it. It's atomizing it very nicely. And the sealer is what really brings this panel to life. We've got excellent texture on both our wood plank stamp and also on our seamless texture. Just crazy colors, as you can see. And that's about it for our first application. Now for best results, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and wait several hours and let this dry and then spray on a second coat for added durability. Every project has its own unique qualities. For this reason, that's why it's important to consult your Duraman representative for project-specific questions. Now, you may have questions on mix ratios, which is certainly listed on their website, or other project concerns such as moisture. Now, the industry standard is 3 pounds of moisture vapor transmission in 1,000 square feet in a 24-hour window. Now, Duraman has a complete line of moisture-related products. For example, Purdue MVT will take 8-pound readings, and it'll cover up to 8 pounds and 1,000 square feet in 24 hours. Purdue MVT Plus will get you 18 to 20 pounds of moisture vapor transmission and bring it down to within acceptable tolerances. And also a great system to consider is Purdue UMC, which is the urethane modified concrete, which is good up to 18 to 20 pounds of moisture vapor transmission.